Welcome to another episode of the For the Law Cricket Podcast with Jim and Akim. Today we'll be discussing the World Cup group stage game played earlier between India and their neighbours, Sri Lanka. Quite a commanding victory for India. They won by 302 runs. India batting first, made 357 for 8. Sri Lanka in reply got only 55. It seems the only thing Sri Lanka got right on the day was the toss. What is your view on today's game?
It was a very easy win for Team India. They started a bit shakily, and I'm sure a few people in the stadium would have been concerned. The captain, Rohit Sharma, the hitman, got out second ball of the innings. He was clean bowled, off stump, rooted out to the ground. And India seemed as if they would have been in a spot of bother. But Virat Kohli, the king of the chase, he was setting the score this time. He got a very good knock. Would be disappointed not to get a century. Shubman Gill was good. Shreyas Iyer was very good. Was very impressed. And Jadeja finished off the innings nicely. And then in the bowling effort, Mohammad Shami is on fire in this World Cup. He's on fire. 5-4-5. Took a 5 for today, his second 5 of the tournament, and he's really making the best use of these conditions.
So the Indian batters stamping their class and Sri Lankan attack that has been pretty light on potency, even given the fact that they basically changed their entire bowling lineup.
The adults played today.
Yeah, the adults are into it again, but they were treated like children. Madhu Shankar, impressive again. Getting out another wicket inside the power play, finishing with 5 for 80. And he was supported by nobody. 2 runouts and consolation wicket to Chamira.
The pitch was taking runouts on the day.
Yes, it was taking runouts. Well, for Sri Lanka. when Sri Lanka was batting, it was taking caught behinds and bowls. Can you give us a deeper look at India's innings?
The opening partnership was a short one. It only lasted 2 balls. Rohit Sharma got out for 4, hit the first ball of the innings for 4. But Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli put on a partnership of 189. It was a very good partnership. Both seemed to be in control. I think both will be disappointed that they missed out on centuries. Shubman Gill has been having a good year in 50 overs cricket with the bat. He averaged 60 plus coming into the tournament. Got into the World Cup and he started off with dengue, so he missed the first couple of games. And then since he has come into the team, he's averaged about 25 or so with 1/2 century. So it was important for him to get a score today and show some signs of form or flowing. He got a good 1/2 century. He got 92. I think he got out in a very soft manner. 100 was there on the cards, and it seemed as if he would have gotten it. He struck the ball very well down the ground, square of the wicket. You know, he has a very languid style, flows through the offside, and he hits the ball with surprising power. Played one of his better knocks in ODI cricket, and he will be disappointed to have missed out. Virat Kohli, what can we say? He has been brilliant in this tournament, and it really speaks to how good Quinton de Kock has been, that despite Virat Kohli's best efforts and the form that he is in now, Quinton de Kock still leads him on the chart in terms of the batter with the most runs in the tournament. Kohli has scored 1 century in the tournament and scored his 4th 1/2 century today. But when you look at his dismissal and probably how he has gotten out in a couple of the games, he will feel like he should have had at least 2 or 3 centuries in this tournament. That being said, he looks hungry, he looks up for it, and that is always a good sign for India. And he looks up for it. He looks really up for it in this tournament, and it's probably a good thing that he hasn't got the 2nd century yet. India will be hoping that that 2nd century comes in the semi-final or the final if he gets there. Shreyas Iyer is one of the batters who, when you look at the Indian batting lineup, you would think that he is probably one of the weaker links at 4. Has come into the tournament, he has held his own, I would say. The knock today was a knock that was very important for him, for the team, and for his confidence. I think he was very dominant. He scored at a very good strike rate. He scored at a strike rate of 146. He got 82 of 56 deliveries, and that included 6 sixes. He batted and used a lot of power, hit a lot of boundaries. That's not something that I usually associate with him, because he's a batter that generally plays the spinners fairly well and is a bit weaker to fast bowling, especially the shorter pitch deliveries. But it was a very good knock from him today, and it set them up for a big total. Jadeja was good, important that he got a cameo, and he got that today, so the Indians will be happy with their batting effort.
Despite missing out on the 100 today, Virat Kohli continues to break records. This is his 8th season with more than 1,000 runs. Sachin Tendulkar only got 7 in his very, very long career. He is easily, in my eyes, the best one-day player we have seen, and especially in this modern generation. Out of those 8 seasons that he has scored over 1,000, his lowest average was 43. He had one season where he averaged 113, and now he's averaging in the 80s. So he just needs a couple more centuries to have a perfect year, and pass and get to a 51 day international hundreds.
Yeah. Sachin
has
51.
Yeah, Sachin has 51. So quite impressive for him, and it is quite interesting to see that he has at least another 3-4 years left at the international level. That could be another 10 centuries at least. Sri Lanka's bowling effort, as I mentioned, Madhushanka got 5. Everybody else was steady without being penetrative, and then they faced the onslaught of Shreyas Iyer towards the back end of the innings. Any thoughts on their bowling effort? I heard you mention Tikshana was disappointing to you.
I think Tikshana was disappointing. When you look at how the batters scored, a lot of runs were scored square of the wicket, in my opinion. I think they bowled a bit too wide. That being said, we've looked at the bowling throughout the tournament, and outside of the power play with Madhushanka, I don't think they're penetrative enough. I don't think the spinners have really come to the tournament and shown up for them, and it tells in the scores that have been scored against them. Some mammoth scores have been scored against them, and it continued today. They're a young unit. They're a unit that could be a real force by the time the next World Cup comes around, but as I've said, I think this World Cup was just one World Cup too soon for them, in my opinion. But they've gotten some results in this tournament, and they've gotten the opportunity to gain some experience and grow.
Sri Lanka got bowled out inside 20 overs. Nissanka got a peach of a delivery from Jasprit Bumrah, first ball of the innings. People might look at it and say he missed a fairly straight ball, but if you watch the replays and saw the angle the ball was coming from, the ball was basically delivered from outside of the wide line. Shape to go down leg side, straighten, and hit him right in front of the off stump. Nissanka is a right-hander, so that should tell you what happened. Another key dismissal was Kusal Mendes, the captain. Got out to Siraj. Similar kind of delivery delivered from outside of the wide line. Looked as if it was going down leg. He shaped to turn it into the leg side. Ended up following the delivery as it crashed into his off stump. How can you sum up the Sri Lankan batting effort? It was pretty brief.
I don't think a lot can be said for the batting effort. When you look at the scorecard and you see an international team being bowled out for 50 for the second time in 2 months, because they also got bowled out for 50 in the Asia Cup finals against India. So India is on 50 form with Sri Lanka. That being said, you look at the scorecard, they got bowled out for 50. You must think that it's either brilliant bowling by India or awful batting from Sri Lanka. I think it was brilliant bowling from India. If you could be really picky, you could probably question the decisiveness and the footwork of some of the Sri Lankan batters. But with the pressure that India created and the accuracy at which they bowl and they constantly ask questions of the batters when they were new to the crease, that is something that really, the pressure really just told on Sri Lanka. They lost a wicket the first ball of the innings. There were 2 for 3 at one stage. It was just a constant procession of wickets. I'm sure people inside the dressing room didn't have the time to get settled, to get ready to come out and bat. It was just chaos, and it was a revolving door really. Batters going in, batters coming out. So it was just a difficult time for them. What I can say is that so far in this tournament, I think the Indians have been the best exponents of swing with the new ball. What do you think?
I don't think they're actually swinging the ball. I think they're getting seam movement. The ball not really swinging around that much, it's just getting it to jog both ways. Especially Shami and Bumrah.
I think when you look at how they bowled in the tournament, especially Shami since he's come into the team, his seam presentation has been so good. You watch him bowl in the games, you look at even the highlights, every single time he takes a wicket, the seam is up, it's upright, dead straight, perfect. And that is allowing the ball to come down, hit the seam and do whatever it wants to, whether he intends it or it's natural variation. And if Shami doesn't know what's going to happen and he's just putting the ball in a good area, imagine the batters. So I think he has been very good with his presentation and also with the lines and lengths that he has bowled. He's constantly asked questions of the batters, and he picked up a deserved 5 for today, his second 5 for the tournament, and he's just a man on fire, and this Indian team is just really rolling at this stage.
Having Shami come in as a first change bowler, when a side is 4 down for like 5 runs, 4 for 3, 4 wickets for 3 runs. Shami, with his quality, with a fairly new ball and a pitch that is offering something, is recipe for disaster. It was basically a walk in the park for him to just walk in and just pick up 5 wickets. He wasn't the most impressive bowler, but it was handed to him on a platter and he took it. India at the top of the table with 2 games to go. They might be giving us a preview of the final to come against South Africa, and they should beat the Netherlands pretty easily. And with this game, they have secured their spot into the semi-finals, the first team to do so. Do you see any chink in their armor going forward?
The only concern I have is Mohammad Shami at 8. You saw the innings today, and towards the end, Jadeja was basically shielding him and taking suicidal singles to get back on strike to finish the innings. I still think that 8 is too early for Shami to be batting, but when you look at how he's bowling, how can you leave him out? How can you leave any of those bowlers out of the team? Bumrah has to play, Jadeja has to play, Kuldeep has been very good in the tournament, and Shami has been very good. It's really Siraj that you'd ask questions of, but Siraj came into the World Cup as the #1 bowler in the world, and he's #2 right now. So for you to drop him out of your World Cup team it's very difficult. So it will be a question of balance for them, and it will just mean that the top 6 or 7 batters have to take a lot more responsibility and take the game deep. And that's what they've been doing all tournaments, so I'm sure they will look to that as they go forward.
You think Sky is a showing for the other games?
I think he plays unless Pandya becomes fit again. Unless he becomes fit again, Sky will play.
Any recommendations for the Sri Lankan team?
It's hard to give any recommendations after a team is blown out like that. So we've both played in games like that before, where we turn up and we just get turned over and we wonder what really happened. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to dwell on it too much. It's like an anomaly. It's something that happens. It's happened twice in the last 2 months for them, but it's something that happens probably once every 5 years or something like that. So you just have to brush it off and keep on going. It's a young squad, they're still learning, so they just have to take it on the chin and keep moving.
Alright guys, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.